In the dark of the eastern Madagascar rainforest, there is a sound you won't hear anywhere else on Earth. It is a soft, rapid tapping, 8 tiny knocks against bark every second, traveling through the canopy like a question. The animal making the sound weighs less than 3 kilograms. It has the body of a cat, the bushy tail of a fox, teeth that look borrowed from a rodent, and the wide, unblinking eyes of a creature that has not slept in a very long time. When European naturalists first encountered it in the late 1700s, they were completely baffled, arguing over its classification for the next 70 years. But the villagers who shared the forest had already made up their minds. They called it a curse. Its body is an assembly of features found nowhere else in the primate order, a singular lineage stranded at the end of an evolutionary branch that no other species ever joined. To understand how something this strange came to exist, we must look at the island itself. Madagascar broke away from the African continent 160 million years ago, and from India 88 million years ago. Since then, it has been running a private, completely isolated experiment in evolution. The early ancestors of lemurs drifted across the ocean on rafts of vegetation. With no monkeys around to compete for resources, these castaways spread out across the island, rapidly adapting to fill every empty ecological niche. Some became massive ground dwellers, others took to the canopy to eat leaves or sap. But one specific lineage moved into the dark, ignoring the fruit and foliage entirely. After tens of millions of years of extreme isolation, that specific branch produced a nocturnal hunter. And to see how it operates, we have to look closely at its most baffling adaptation, a skeletal middle finger. This diagram illustrates the extreme anatomy of the aye's hand. The middle finger is elongated and almost entirely devoid of flesh, just bone and tendon. At the base of that digit sits a true ball and socket joint, a structure that allows the finger to rotate an independent 360 degrees. The eye moves slowly along a branch, swiveling its massive, naked ears to scan the environment. Then it lifts that middle finger and begins drumming against the bark. The diagram shows what happens next. Tapping solid wood returns a short, dead thud. But if there is a hollow beetle tunnel underneath, the sound waves penetrate the air pocket, returning a longer, deeper echo. The eye uses microsecond differences between echoes to pinpoint prey. This is called percussive foraging. Bats use sonar in the air, dolphins use it in the water, but among all primates, the eye alone uses echo information to hunt. Once the target is located, a pair of continuously growing incisors gnaws a small hole into the hardwood. The fourth finger, the longest on the hand, hooked at the tip, slides into the breach to pull the grub out of the dark. The finger, the ear, the brain, and the jaw all lock together as a single biological radar system. It is a hunting mechanism refined entirely for finding insects hidden deep inside solid wood. By the 21st century, anatomists had spent 200 years dissecting the eye. The consensus was that every bone, muscle, and tendon in its bizarre hand had been completely documented. In 2019, researchers examining the wrist structure found something unexpected. Near the palm pad sits a tiny structure of bone and cartilage, controlled by 3 distinct muscles. The eye has a 6th finger. This pseudothumb is an evolutionary trade-off. Over millions of years, the middle finger became completely specialized for tapping. It lost the thick muscle and flesh necessary to grasp branches. The eye had sacrificed the gripping power of a normal primate hand. To compensate, the wrist developed this extra digit. Tests revealed that this tiny, hidden structure can exert enough force to support nearly half the animal's entire body weight while climbing. The animal is so specialized for its specific ecological niche that it had to grow an entirely new appendage to survive in the trees. It carried a major anatomical secret right under our noses for 2 centuries. Outside the laboratory, up in the rural highland villages of Madagascar, the eye has a completely different legacy. Life in many of these communities is governed by a concept called fady. This is a deep, ancestral system of strict taboos that dictates what people can eat, where they can walk, and how they interact with animals. In the forests of the north and central regions, the fady surrounding the eye is severe. The same skeletal finger that allows it to hear inside wood is viewed by locals as an omen of bad luck. There is a belief that if an eye points that middle finger at you, you are marked for death. In the strictest interpretations of this tradition, the curse can only be broken if the animal is hunted down and killed. The evolutionary tool that ensures the animal's survival in the canopy is the exact feature causing it to be hunted on sight. Beyond local hunting, the eye faces an even larger threat. Tens of thousands of its habitat are cleared every year by slash-and-burn agriculture and illegal logging, fragmenting the dark, quiet territories these solitary animals need. Their biology makes population recovery incredibly difficult. After a 6-month gestation, a female eye will give birth to a single infant only once every 2 or 3 years. Very few live in human care. The Duke Lemur Center in North Carolina is one of the only facilities capable of breeding them, maintaining heavily modified enclosures with specialized diets. These captive individuals serve as a delicate, costly insurance policy against total extinction. In the wild, an infant spends months clinging to its mother, carefully watching her hands to learn the specific rhythm of tapping. Because they are completely solitary, there is no one else to teach them. When an eye is killed, a unique lineage of private knowledge ends with it. The survival of this specialized hunter, the only primate to ever hear what is hidden inside wood, now hinges on whether the remaining forest patches can be protected before it goes silent forever.